Hello and welcome to Video Game Hangover. I'm Randy Dickinson and I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Hey, I'm DJ Ross. I am in Mountain View, California.
On every episode of Video Game Hangover, we talk about the games that have been keeping us up at night. This week, that list includes Fortnite. Hey, remember that game?
Hey.
Yeah. Lonely Mountains Snow Riders. And the unfortunately named CineNerdle2 Battle.
Is that the latest Square Enix game?
I need a little grace on this. I will explain. It's really fun, but I don't know how they landed on that as the name of the game.
Yeah, that's quite a lot happening.
Plus, I have been back on my Balatro bullshit for a little while, and I want to talk about it for a bit.
Oh, okay. Well, That's a lot of stuff.
Yes. Yeah. I've been doing like a video game sampler platter, just kind of hopping from thing to thing lately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we did like a regular episode of the show. I think we're doing a lot of 2024 kind of wrap-up stuff. And
anything
I feel
outstanding? Anything we didn't cover from 2024? And like favorite video game trailers, video game characters?
Were there any good trailers? I mean, not to get into it, but that trailer for the new Fumito Ueda game was amazing. The one got us from the Game Awards. But
could you be more specific?
The one, well, I mean, there was only one trailer that he put out, so I don't think I can.
Which trailer is that person that you said?
So this is the creator of Shadow of the Colossus and Eco, and the trailer for the new game, I think they're calling Project Robot or something very vague like that. It showed some character basically climbing into this giant robot as prepared to blast off or something like that. But it was just, it was super cool, very atmospheric trailer.
I don't think I watched that. That's interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not like the most shiny AAA thing. I just felt like it, I feel like trailers are a lost art. Everything is now just, show as much of it as possible and get that, licensed soundtrack in there and do the logo drop. But this one was like so mysterious and it immediately like felt like one of this guy's games. So that was very cool.
Cool.
I want to watch it again, so I'm going to put it in the show notes and then everybody else can watch it with me.
I'm going to watch it again for the first time.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, good. I was kind of joking, but I'm glad you had that ready, and we gave you a reason to talk about it.
Well, I think it's just like, man, I cannot think of any other trailers that really stood out. I mean, the other thing was like the Naughty Dog trailer, which I think is really interesting to compare to the Project Robot trailer because that one is much more of like, I mean, pretty much exactly what you expect if Naughty Dog was to put together a trailer.
A triple AS video game trailer.
Yeah. And like to some degree, like I'll give Naughty Dog a pass, but it like just so stylistically different from the Project Robot trailer.
Yeah. I did see the Naughty Dog thing, naturally, of course. So, yeah, it got the attention it well, I don't know if it got the attention it wanted because there was a whole toxic Discord afterwards that we will not cover here. But
well, I mean, that's just any video game trailer at this point.
That's true, yes, yeah.
Oh, they dare to put a woman in their video game?
A person of color, of a non-specific gender, yep. Yeah, so it's just deplorable. So, yeah, definitely going to play that Naughty Dog thing. But I'll have to check out the giant robot thing.
Yeah, the game should be really good once it comes out in like 2035.
Nice. I also think that Naughty Dog thing is a giant robot thing, is it not?
There was a giant robot or some kind of giant monster that you're fighting.
Is it the same giant robot? Perhaps these two games are connected in a way we don't understand.
That would be unexpected.
Cool. I like unexpected.
Yeah, that would be a shock. But, I never rule anything out 100%. So we'll see what happens.
Was last year the GTA 6 trailer, or was that 2 years ago? Or 3 years ago?
That was last year, yeah.
Okay, or 7 years ago.
That trailer was okay. I used to get so excited for those GTA trailers.
I know. I can't even imagine a scenario where I would play the new one. There's this like, it would have to show me something just completely mind-blowing, and I can't imagine what that thing would be.
What about that scene where they're like driving over the bridges between all the, the islands and in Miami or wherever? That looked pretty cool. But yeah, no, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
I don't even. Yeah, I don't know if I'll play it. I feel like at one point it was just inevitable that I would play the next Grand Theft Auto game.
Oh yeah.
And now I don't know.
I mean, until GTA 5, it was inevitable that I would continue to play GTA games. So, yeah, that game broke it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when the trailer for GTA 5 came out, me, you, and Paul did a whole 45-minute to an hour-long breakdown of everything. Right, exactly.
Scroll through the trailer, yeah.
Yeah. Which in modern terms is a YouTube video called Top 25 Things You Didn't Notice in the
Yeah.
But we were ahead of ahead of the time.
Yeah. I wonder if that'll come out this year.
I don't know. I mean, there's a rumor that could be the first $80 game. We'll see how that goes.
Oh, I heard more than $80, but that's
a
whole other story. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see if that breaks the internet.
Yeah. Well, they could charge us whatever they want for that, most likely, and it would still sell.
Right. Cool.
But anyway.
Yeah.
It's been a bit. I've played a lot of stuff in the last few weeks, few months, what it feels like.
We should jump into it. We can rip that Band-Aid off and start talking about video games on our video game podcast. Are you cool with that?
Yeah. Oh, should we talk about... We have a stream coming up. Doing the stream thing again.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, let's tell people about the stream and then we can talk about Fortnite.
That's
we're doing a stream next Monday, February the 10th, 10 o'clock Eastern. I think you're out, actually, so I will be doing the stream.
It's a Royal Wii. It's not a Wii, but yeah.
Yeah, the Royal Wii. I will be playing Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
Nice.
Is this a good idea? People like this, right?
Yeah, I've been playing it. I'm not going to review it on this week's show because I want to spend some more time with it. But it is a game.
Okay.
Yep.
I was just sort of testing the waters because there was what was that other Animal Crossing-ish game that got revealed last year? And everybody, I could feel people rolling their eyes at it. They're just like, look at this Animal Crossing clone. And then suddenly this Hello Kitty thing comes out and everybody's super into it. I'm just like, wait a minute. I don't know what's changed.
Do we like Animal Crossing clones or do we not?
So, well, I guess that's what I'll figure out next Monday.
Yes, correct. Yep.
So tune in, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, twitch.tv/VGHangover. I don't even really know what you do in this game besides, I guess, go on an adventure on an island.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun.
Hello Kitty's there.
She better be. She's in the title.
And all of her friends. Yeah, I won't spoil anything. I've put quite a few hours into this up to this point, and we can talk about it after you get your hands on it for a bit. But cool. Yeah, I'm not available, unfortunately, Monday, but I'm excited to hear what DJ's take on it is, and we'll both weigh in on it on the following episode.
All right.
Yeah. So to be specific, it's Monday, February 10th, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. All the other stuff DJ said. Of course, you could always go to our Discord for more info.
Yeah. I should also mention that the Monster Hunter Wilds beta is coming up for the next few weeks. So I'll probably be doing a few hunting nights. You can get more information in the Discord if that's something you'd like to join in on.
Yeah.
But yeah, just wanted to throw that out there.
Cool. And how can people figure out where our Discord is?
Where is the Discord?
It's on Discord.
It's on Discord. Well, it's on the website. You should go to VGHangover.com and there's a link there.
Yep, that's true.
I don't have the invite link memorized. I thought my head. I'm still working on that.
I don't either. That part's not easy. But yeah, just go to the VGHangover.com.
Okay, got that out of the way.
Yeah.
I'm playing a lot of Fortnite lately.
Do the rest of the stuff. Fortnite. You want to start with that?
Yeah, why not? It's like the most popular game in the world, or at least the country. I don't know.
Before we recorded tonight, we were joking about like playing Fortnite during Extra Life 5 years ago, I think, maybe.
It was many years ago.
It's been a long time, yes. I think we immediately hopped from Extra Life to Among Us. So that's how long, I'm sorry, not from Fortnite to Among Us. So that's how long ago that was.
When? Oh, yeah, that must have, it was probably during lockdown, like 2020?
I believe so, yeah, if I had to hazard a guess. So. So what brought you back to Fortnite? This is a surprising turn of events.
Oh, man. What brought me back? Well, what else but the new collaborate? Well, not new at this point, but the collaboration with none other than Hatsune Miku, who is now a Fortnite character who you can murder people as. So that's very exciting.
Wow.
It just feels like, given a long enough amount of time, every like known character will be in Fortnite. Like Darth Vader is there. Godzilla is there. He was also recently added. Is Godzilla whatever. Godzilla's in there.
I know Lara Croft and John Wick are in there.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves is in there like several times.
Is he really?
Or there was a character who they like didn't have the John Wick license, so they made like a legally distinct John Wick character, but then they just added actual John Wick later. And I think there may be another it's the guy from Cyberpunk, I think, is in there, who is like, he looks like John Wick. I mean, it's just Keanu Reeves again. So you're like 2/3 of the way to having a full Keanu squad in Fortnite at this point.
You could do some Keanu on Keanu action there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe in one of those custom modes. I don't know.
Yeah. What's the rule that everything, if you could think of it, is on the internet somewhere? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are different whatever variations on that rule. They need a new one for Fortnite. It's like, oh yeah, inevitably they end up in Fortnite. But yeah, so Hatsune Miku, the virtual idol, is now in Fortnite. And I think it'd be weird if it was just for the Battle Royale mode, but there was also this mode called Fortnite Festival, which came out probably roughly a year ago at this point, which is basically Rock Band. Because Epic bought Harmonix, the studio that made the original Guitar Hero and Rock Band several years ago. Oh. And so now there is just Rock Band in Fortnite. Because they've they had the Battle Royale thing, and they also had the whole survival mode, which people forget about. But then they've been slowly adding all these other game modes. So around the same time, I think they added a Lego mode, which is kind of like Minecraft / Valheim almost.
Oh. Well, wasn't the original vanilla Fortnite kind of a Minecraft building thing also?
It was kind of like a horde survival mode kind of deal.
Oh.
Right? Where you were building the fort. That's why it's called Fortnite, or at least part of the reason.
There was a construction element to it, though, right?
Yeah, and that's why you spend so much time in the Battle Royale building stuff. So yeah, I mean, yeah, the interesting. It did kind of come all the way back around to it. But yeah, so now there's also Rock Band. And I'd never tried it up until, I just never tried it. But I thought this would be it's finally my excuse. Hatsune Miku is going to get me into this thing, and I will try out the Rock Band mode in Fortnite because, I like Rock Band. I like music games.
Yeah. It's
been a long time since I played, I guess a proper sort of Rock Band style game. And this was all the excuse I needed. It's like, okay, I'm so out of the loop when it comes to the Fortnite sort of ecosystem in terms of how characters get added or how you acquire them and how the shop and the battle pass work. So it's just this is going to be a whole experience. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I just logged into Fortnite after having a lot of difficulties with my Epic Games account, but I'm not going to get into that. But it's you log back in and it's just, having not played this game for 4 or 5 years, it is just popping out of the Matrix into the real world. You're just what is going on? Because there's you've got the Battle Royale stuff in this corner, and then there are all these other things like the Lego thing. There's Fortnite Festival. There's all these custom game modes right now. It's very overwhelming.
And are they all sort of integrated into a Fortnite gaming experience? You sort of go to a different icon on the map and now you can play Rock Band, or are you selecting these things from the start menu and you kind of pick which lane you want to go down?
Yeah, well, it's not quite that immersive. It's all from just the Fortnite sort of launcher.
Got it.
So it's all menu based. But yeah, like everything is in there. You just hop from one completely disparate game mode to the next. Like you could get tired of Battle Royale and decide to play like, oh yeah, like Rocket League is in there too or something very similar to Rocket League. I haven't even explored every single option in here, but it feels like Rocket League is in there because I would like go through one of the battle passes. There are like 4 or 5 separate battle passes now, which is a whole other thing. And you can unlock stuff like cars. And I was just like, where do you use a car in Fortnite? Why are there so many different car options? So it was very overwhelming. And really all I wanted to do was I wanted to get that Hatsune Miku player skin and whatever like leak-themed accessories she came with. And then I want to play Rock Band.
Run around, shoot some dudes with Hatsune Miku.
Yeah. I actually have not set foot in the Battle Royale this sort of like round of Fortnite yet. I've been playing pretty much only the Rock Band thing and a little bit of the Lego thing. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I need to play Battle Royale at this point. I do really like the image of just Hatsune Miku with an assault rifle killing people.
Yeah.
Or whatever you do in Fortnite. I don't know if you kill people. I mean, you must kill people because you shoot them with guns, but...
Yes. Yep. I was going to say, so what are you doing with Hatsune Miku in this game if not playing Battle Royale with her?
So she's just your avatar. You know, like it's like in Rock Band where you have your player character you can customize. Right. They'll just
so she's
give you
playing
a stock
electric
character.
guitar while you're matching buttons.
Yes, or, you know, keyboard, or she's on vocals or whatever.
Got it.
But the fun thing is, like, you have a whole, like, library of Fortnite characters and accessories. You just use those characters and, like, unlockable stuff as your Rock Band character, which is kind of fun.
Yeah,
It's neat seeing that integration.
So you could have a video game band that's all Keanu Reeves characters.
Yeah, yes, you could have. Oh man, you could have the virtual dog star band.
Yeah, there's a go. That's a deep pull. Good job, DJ.
Well, it's like Keanu Reeves band. Let's get it together. But yeah, so now I suppose you can have like Darth Vader and everybody, just anyone you could think of in your Rock Band, your fake Rock Band.
Wow.
Which is cool, although I don't really have the history with Fortnite, so I haven't accumulated all this stuff to play with. So I'm limited to just Hatsune Miku, and I managed to get some of the Godzilla stuff because that was active when I got back into this, so I guess that's cool. But really, I just want to play Rock Band.
Sure.
So the Rock Band mode is called Fortnite Festival.
It's not called Rock Band mode.
No, it's not, but it's shocking how identical to Rock Band it is. Like I've been saying like, oh yeah, they just put they put Rock Band in Fortnite. But it's like exactly like 1-to-1 Rock Band. Like the experience is identical to playing one of the Rock Band games, which at first I was like, wow, this is really like kind of shameless. I feel like the Rock Band guys would be upset if they saw this, but then that's just because they were the ones that made it. Sure. So I guess that's fine.
They're not upset. It is Epic keeping them alive, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess Rock Band was kind of on the way out. I mean, it certainly wasn't like hitting the heights of its popularity like back in whenever that was, like 2009 or whatever.
Right.
So
what was the last one? Rock Band 3, right? And then they did like the Beatles and stuff like that. And then that
there was like Rock Band, like it went away for a while, I think. But then I think there was Rock Band 4, right?
Oh, wow. I think I was out at that point.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I played anything past the Beatles or anything even on like past the PlayStation 3 generation.
Yes, yeah.
But I remember they tried to reboot Guitar Hero sort of with like a new guitar. Yep. And I'm not sure what was going on with Rock Band, if they tried to reinvent themselves or they just continue their sort of DLC model. In fact, I don't even know if they're still releasing Rock Band. So I mean, they can't still be releasing stuff because now they're owned by Epic. So I guess they're probably not. There'll be no more Rock Bands. You have to log into Fortnite, and that's the only way you can play Rock Band now, which is kind of mixed because I think Rock Band is such a fun concept, but it's very weird having it exist entirely through this other game.
Yeah.
As like a side mode.
It's too bad that it never, like, Rock Band never got to, like, Just Dance. Because Just Dance has been this sort of, like, juggernaut. Every year there's a new disc, there's 20 new songs on it, and the whole, like, you know, online experience too, with every song ever recorded for the game. And it's a thing that people get genuinely excited about, and they sell 1 billion copies of it, and it has almost never interested me at all. So, but I wish there was some faction where Rock Band existed in a parallel universe, and it also got the yearly, you know, update and iteration and you know, marginal growth from year to year, because I think that would be amazing, and I would be there for it. They would get me $50 once a year without fail.
Yeah.
And I don't, it's a bummer that, unfortunately, that, you know, I think it got so tethered to kind of like, well, I don't want to buy any more plastic crap. I don't want any more plastic guitars or drums in my house. And playing Rock Band with a controller was never quite as fun as playing it with a plastic guitar, but is a totally viable alternative. So yeah, it's just unfortunate that you know, Just Dance became the thing, and you have to play Fortnite if you want to have anything even resembling a Rock Band experience.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure I said this on the show before, but I feel like Rock Band and Guitar Hero, like the whole cycle, was just a few years too early. Whereas if it had been shifted like back a couple or forward a couple of years, if it had just come out later, like the whole like DLC and eShop sort of infrastructure on every console would have been a little more mature, and then maybe they would have had something that could have been a little more persistent, like the Rock Band platform.
Oh, sure.
Where you wouldn't be like, oh, all my songs are on my Xbox 360 or whatever, and, you know, my guitar doesn't work with this console, and you have all these weird factors that prevent you from playing it, like prevent you from playing new versions of it whenever it comes out.
I do remember that, because that was that leap between, like, I forget what generation it was, between like Rock Band 1 or 2 or 2 and 3 even. Like, there was a separate tool you had to download to transfer all of your songs from game to game. And some games wouldn't transfer because they didn't set up the licensing correctly. And again, to your point, I think you're probably right. It was probably just 4 or 5 years too early, and people weren't thinking about licensing or DLC or content in the way that, or games as platforms in the way that they do now, obviously.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's a huge bummer, I think, because I would love Rock Band to just exist as its own thing.
Yeah.
But
I bought hundreds of DLC songs for Rock Band on the 360 that are gone forever.
Oh, yeah, same with me. Mine are all, well, I could just hook up my PlayStation 3 and have some of those songs on there, but, you know, what's the likelihood that I'm going to do that?
Right, exactly.
But anyway, so you can play something that resembles Rock Band, very closely resembles Rock Band, in Fortnite. And it's been an interesting experience. It's so, like, for the most part, it's fun to play a Rock Band style game again. It's fun to have the, like, actual songs from artists you recognize in there. I think that was always one of the biggest draws, aside from the goofy plastic guitar.
Yeah. Is it a pretty expansive song list?
It's larger than I thought it would be. It's nowhere near approaching, like, the existing or whatever, wherever the Rock Band library ended up.
Right.
And also, it's fairly different in terms of just, like, makeup. I was talking about this with somebody this week, and I just saying, like, I feel like I'm too old for most of this song list.
Oh no!
So I mean, because it's a lot of like, sort of like I don't know the best term for this, but I think of it as like radio pop songs. It's a lot of like Billie Eilish has a DLC pack, and like a lot of like Katy Perry and Carly Rae in there. And then, I mean, it's definitely for, like, it's skewed a little bit younger, because I feel that's just the Fortnite crowd. And I think whereas Rock Band and Guitar Hero were more about, like, let's play these classic rock songs on your guitar, that skewed much older. But nevertheless, there's some fun stuff in there. Like for the Godzilla event, they brought out Godzilla by Blue Oyster Cult or whoever.
Oh, nice! Go Godzilla.
You know, there are definitely some older songs in there. But yeah, very different sort of genre-wise overall. To the point where if I do see a band that I recognize that I would like to play a song by them, I'm just like, oh, that's weird. So that took a little getting used to. I also feel like while you can play this with a plastic instrument, I don't have any of the latest ones, which I think are like you need one of the more recent versions of those instruments to like be compatible with this. It definitely doesn't work with my old PS3 hardware or whatever that guitar was compatible with. So I just been playing on a controller, which, as you said, is viable. And I was thinking, like, I've played my share of like controller-based rhythm games in the past, and those were actually a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. How does it translate to this? And the answer is, not well.
No.
It's surprising how much of the Rock Band experience I feel like is like centers on you holding a fake instrument in your hands and like pretending that you're actually playing music using an instrument. Sure. Because if you think about it, like one of the things that they were striving for with Guitar Hero and Rock Band is just recreating the feel that you are playing the song. So that means all the song tracks, like the note charts, are trying to be as like one-to-one with the actual music as possible. Which is fun when you're all up on stage playing, like pretending you're playing a song. But then, like, if you look at what the notes on a drum track looks like, it's not the most riveting like gameplay experience. Because it's like, oh yeah, you're just keeping time sort of 4/4 with the notes coming on the screen. And it took me maybe like one song, like, because you can still switch between the different roles in the bands. So there's like vocals, leads, or lead, bass, and drums. So at one point I was like, okay, I'll try the drum thing. And it was just like play the same like 4 bars of this rhythm track for the entire duration of the song. I was like, oh my God, this is remembering why I never really stuck with drums in Rock Band. Because it's not even that interesting when you're actually playing on a fake drum kit. So imagine doing that on a controller for 4 minutes. And that's the other thing, like, I was hoping it'd be more comparable to other like controller-based music games I've played, or the ones, even like touchscreen-based ones, which are less the Guitar Hero Rock Band model of like putting entire real-world songs into their games, and they tend to have like unique songs created for them. Mm-hmm. But you're also not playing a specific role in the band for these songs. So they tend to be spread across all the different like tracks in the song. So the note chart is more varied. It's much less repetitive because, you know, it's not about reproducing the exact notes. It's more about just creating an entertaining like thing to do while you're playing this game and listening to the song.
Oh, gotcha. So your point, just to make sure I understand, is pick a game. What do you play? The Hatsune Miku stuff or like Groove Coaster?
Yes, well, exactly. I think the thing I've been playing the most is actually the actual Hatsune Miku mobile game.
Right. And in those you play along with the song rather than like the guitars in the song.
Yes, exactly. Gotcha. So you like at one point you'll be playing along with the vocals and it'll switch to like the lead or like the solo or whatever. Just like it's typically whatever it tends to be like the most prominent or interesting track in the song. Whereas in Rock Band and Fortnite Festival, you pick drums, that's what you're playing for 4 or 5 minutes or however long the song is.
Right.
And that becomes very apparent, not just because of the repetition, but there are also just long stretches. Like if there are no vocals in this section, the track will just disappear and your Fortnite character will appear and you can do one of your stupid Fortnite dances while you wait for your part of the song to come back. Which is kind of hilarious, but it's also sort of depressing whenever the game is like, oh yeah, you don't have anything to do for the next 30 seconds, so here's like push some other buttons on the controller, just so you don't get bored.
Deploy your star power at the right time.
Yes, yeah, no, star power is still in here. So it's been sort of a weird adjustment back to just remembering how Guitar Hero and Rock Band work compared to like more, I don't want to say dedicated music games, because like Rock Band was definitely a dedicated music game, but it's just such a different approach to it than something like the Hatsune Miku game. And I think a lot about the DJ Max series, which is another controller-based rhythm game that I've sunk hundreds of hours into. But it's just so different from having your songs broken down into like distinct tracks and sort of being limited to just playing one part of the song at a time.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so while it is enjoyable, as long as you actually have to be sort of careful that you don't pick a song that is like, oh, is this just going to be the same like 4 bars over and over again? Like, I'm sure this definitely happened to you if you played Rock Band at any point. You're just like, oh, I love this song. How is it on guitar? And it's just terrible because it's just so repetitive.
Well, those are the ones that are like the easy 100% because you're just doing the same thing over and over. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it can be a little monotonous if you don't manage to avoid those.
Right.
But like, it's fun playing this kind of game again. There are a lot of tracks in here that were not in Rock Band, or at least I never played them. I never had them as DLC or whatever. So there's like a bunch of Lady Gaga songs, which is fun.
Yeah.
There's Cake in here. You ever listen to Cake?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh man,
she's going the distance.
Yeah, exactly. But I was just like, some of these, I don't know if they would like sort of make sense for a Rock Band sort of like composition. I guess Cake makes sense. And then eventually they added that keyboard thing, which let them expand the library a little bit further.
Right. Yep.
And that is sort of like baked into Fortnite Festival. But yeah, it feels much less tied to, the idea of that 4-piece sort of like, you got a guitar and a bass player sort of composition from the older Rock Band games. So a little more variety, for better or for worse. Depends how much you like Billie Eilish.
Not at all.
No, not so much.
Mumble whisper her way through a new song.
Yeah. They had that her song that they used for the True Detective season 4 opening. So I was like, oh, okay, this is my in. And then I played it. I was like, oh, that was okay. I'll go back to playing. I'll wait for them to put Godzilla back in the rotation. Oh, so that's the other thing. And I have sort of conflicted thoughts about this, because this is another thing I've been wanting Rock Band to do for a long time, is that, Fortnite, like everything is free until you start putting money into the DLC shop or whatever. So you can load up Fortnite and Fortnite Festival, and there's just the whole song list, or like a huge song list of stuff you can play without spending a single dollar on it, which is actually really cool.
Yeah.
But the way that works is everything is sort of on a rotation. So they will just periodically swap things in and out of the list of songs you can play. And if you have a favorite song that you always want access to, you can buy it in the shop. But otherwise, it's sort of just on a rotation, which I think is fun because it gives you access to all these songs you probably otherwise never would have tried because they're locked behind the DLC shop or whatever.
So it could be a different song list every time you play.
Yeah, I'm not sure how often it updates. It might be as frequently as 24 hours. There's still a lot of things I don't understand about Fortnite.
Wow.
One of them is just like how often things swap in and out. But I was always thinking like, that's sort of how like, my ideal Rock Band platform should operate. They just give you a list of like a sort of a sampling of everything. And then you pick and choose like your top favorites, because when you had to buy the whole disc, probably 75% of that was stuff that I could have just skipped. And, then I would just head off to the DLC shop and pick out songs that I actually wanted to play.
Yeah.
So that actually is a really cool model.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. I mean, it and I'm not sure if this is exactly what you mean, but like to jump in and they're like, oh, here's today's set list, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. Yeah, it should update once a fortnight, DJ.
That's not often enough.
Right? Yeah, you got to keep the 12-year-olds coming back.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Well, I guess they're not 12 anymore. They're probably 18 now. So
yes, it's been a few years.
Yeah.
So that was cool to see. I was just like, oh man, this is sort of how I always envisioned it. That said, I still feel like just because, you're playing on a controller, the note charts are not the greatest compared to other music games that are out there. It's not something that I see myself just like playing all the time now on. Well, the songs are quite expensive now. I think everything is sort of obfuscated through V-Bucks, like the Fortnite currency. Yeah. So I don't know what 500 V-Bucks is, but I think it's like maybe $4.50 per song, which is like, it's kind of a lot to ask for if you're not having an amazing time playing every song that you're paying this much for.
What were they on the Xbox and PS3? That's $4 each, right?
I kind of sworn they were like $2 or $3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a pretty big increase then. I had $4 in my head for some reason, $3.99.
I think there was maybe some like weird like pricing tiers where there were like more expensive songs at some point. I don't know.
And you could always buy packs, right? You could buy like, I don't know, one Interpol song for $2, or you could get 3 of them for $5.
Yeah. And man, so I was thinking like, oh man, I should really like put my money where my mouth is, because I've been hoping that they would adopt this sort of model and you just pick all your songs. But then just thinking about how much I'm enjoying the current, just like playing the game as is, and just seeing like what the weird selection of songs is, has made me very hesitant to actually like sink a lot more money into this. At least definitely not as much as I would have put into Rock Band back in the day. Because, I don't know. I don't know how much I'll end up playing this once I think I got like a month subscription or whatever to whatever battle passes are out. So I'll keep on playing it for a few more weeks. But we'll see how it goes after that.
You were right, DJ. Individual songs were priced at $1.99.
Oh, yeah. See, that's like, sure, I'll pay $1.99 to play whatever.
Back on the PlayStation and Xbox Live and Wii.
Yeah. Yep. I just remember it was more than like the Apple store, like the iTunes store at the time, which I think was $1, and people were flipping out about it.
It was $1 a song. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah. But man, $4 for whatever song, it has to be pretty good.
Yeah. In a world where people are not conditioned to pay for music anymore.
Yeah,
I can't imagine there's like very many.
I don't know. I mean, I'm curious how much people are playing this. I mean, you can kind of tell. I was actually looking at the login screen this Monday evening before we started recording, and there were roughly like 300,000 or 400,000 people playing all the various flavors of like the Battle Royale modes, and then 15,000 playing Fortnite Festival, which, it's like, oh, there aren't as many people playing Fortnite Battle Royale, like the phenomenon. That's not too surprising. But I don't know how those numbers compare to any other sort of like name your live service game of choice these days. 15,000 seems like a decent amount, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's the magic number to keep that alive, but that's a ton of people.
Yeah. I don't even know if it's like what sort of the longevity situation is, or they're just like, there not enough people were playing this, so we got to shut it down, or if it's just, the fact that it is part of Fortnite means they can maintain it indefinitely, or what's going on. Maybe if it's not popular, they just stop releasing new tracks for it or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I do remember, I don't think I knew the context, but I remember like a year ago, there was a graphic going around on the internet that was sort of like, this is the official lineup for the Fortnite Festival. Mm-hmm. And it was, I think it was the launch songs. I'm looking at it right now. It's like Mr. Brightside by the Killers.
Yeah. Oh, don't play that one. That's a, you think it's going to be good, but it's the same 4 notes over and
over. That's my experience with the Killers in general. The Hand That Feeds 9 Inch Nails. What else is on here? Gangnam Style by Psy.
Like
Buddy Holly by Weezer.
That would never have made it into Rock Band, or maybe it did. Maybe I don't think I was playing Rock Band at that point.
Zombie by the Cranberries. That's a good deep pull.
Yeah.
A Fall Out Boy song, a Florence and the Machine song, Queens of the Stone Age. So like White Stripes, Seven Nation Army. This is not bad.
That's like a 20-minute song, and the bass line is just, you're going to be doing that a lot.
Doom, doom. Yeah. But I didn't know what this was when it first came out. I'm like, oh, they're doing a music festival. Like, I thought it was going to be like bands performing in Fortnite or something because I'm an old man. And now that I know what Fortnite Festival is, I'm like, oh, I get it. These are songs you're playing in Rock Band, essentially, in Fortnite.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's been a good experience overall. I'm glad I finally got around to trying it. Because I feel like it's a thing I could fire up every once in a while and see, like, oh, who's on the list this week?
Right. Every now and then, Sarah and I are like, we should hook up the Xbox 360 and play Rock Band. And we never do. Just because, the barrier to that is like, go out to the garage, dust off the guitar and the drums, and like find the microphone and all the cables and the USB little port jack thing that plugs into the Xbox. And, 40 minutes of downloads and updates and patches, and it never happens. So if there's some scenario where her and I could jump into Fortnite together and play this relatively friction-free, then that might be worth exploring.
Well, so I can't help you in terms of like hooking up a plastic instrument to play this thing.
Yeah,
but
she would want there to be plastic instruments. So I think
that's not negotiable.
Explore that part of it exactly. My partner's not going to want to play drums on a controller.
No, I specifically recommend against not doing that. But one big advantage of it being in Fortnite is you can just play it on anything. So I've been playing it on, not Steam, through the Epic launcher on PC. I think I played it on PS5 and Switch. The one thing that's kind of frustrating that you can't play it on is any iOS device. You have to do like some weird like Epic streaming thing to get it to run on there because of their whole lawsuit thing from a few years ago.
Gotcha.
Which is like, I'm glad that worked out for you guys. Thanks, Epic. But yeah, you probably have more. I mean, you probably have a bunch of devices in your house already that could just play this fairly easily.
Just run it. Yeah, absolutely. Interesting. All right. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah. Take a look at that track list so you have an idea of what you're getting into.
We'll see what the updates are. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't need any more Ed Sheeran songs.
No.
No more Coldplay, thank you.
Is Coldplay in there? I don't know.
I don't know. I just assume so. Just
I don't know.
In the corner, just sitting there in
the
corner, rubbing its hands, waiting to suck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can like choose the songs you play, put into your own set list. It's just you're limited to whatever is on tap for that week.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I mean, clearly a bit of a mixed review. I may be more excited about the potential of this than the reality of it, but it's kind of fun that, Epic is keeping harmonics alive and keeping Rock Band alive in some format or another.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an ideal world, but 50 years, every game will be in Fortnite, and it's the only you'll be able to play anything. So
right,
might as well get used to it. Anyway, so that's my Fortnite experience as a 42-year-old.
Fun. Are you playing against other people, or are you playing solo primarily?
Oh, no. That was the very first thing. I was just like, how do I make sure that no random people join my game? Because I cannot have that happen.
No witnesses.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know what that adds to your game experience at this point. Like, if I had like 3 friends who wanted to play Fortnite Festival, sure.
Right.
Fine. But I don't see how 3 random people would improve the experience. Plus, like, I find it helpful that since I'm just playing by myself, I can swap between different tracks between songs. So if I know the next song coming up has an awful drum track, I can not play drums for that track.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Whereas if your job is always drums.
Yeah, no, that would be a nightmare. Yes. There's no way. I mean, you would need the drum set, or I would need the drum set to make that even remotely tolerable.
Right. All right. Fun.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we talked about that for a very long time. So, all good content though. That was good stuff. No regrets. I will say this about Balatro, is that I mentioned this on our kind of year-end wrap-up show. I went back to it a few weeks ago in kind of early December, around the time that like I think a lot of people were discovering it for the first time because of the Game Awards.
The Game Awards, yeah.
Yeah, and they've gone on to say that since the Game Awards they've sold like 1 million more copies of Balatro or something.
Oh wow,
yeah,
good for them.
Yeah, it's awesome. And
good for that one guy.
for him, yeah. He's been really adept about sort of like trying to channel some of that attention into other indie games, and going, okay, cool. I like that you're super excited about this, but he uses his social media to like redirect to like, also this other cool game came out this week that you should check out. And I think he's been like, that bump has been really good for a lot of other indie developers. So
maybe he's been like putting other indie games into it as like exclusive jokers or something. Like I saw 1000 Times Resist had its own Joker. I was like, that, like, how does that work? That's weird.
They're not jokers. I'm sorry. They're face cards. You can change the custom design on your face cards. There's 1000 Times Resist. There's a Slay the Spire deck. There's a Cult of the Lamb deck. And you could and there's a 1000 Times Resist one. There's a couple of others that I don't know nearly as well. But yeah, you can activate them to varying degrees. So you could assign all of your club's face cards to be Cult of the Lamb. And it has custom artwork for them. And you can play them with all of your hearts face cards to be 1000 Times Resist. So you do end up with some really fun kind of crossovers and combinations of cards on your screen at the same time. So and the artwork's really good. I like it a lot.
Cool.
So that's kind of fun. Yeah. And again, that's another way of like shifting some of the focus to other games. Because I'm sure there's somebody in there who's like, oh, what's Cult of the Lamb? Maybe I'll check that out too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun. But yeah, I spent months with this game. I bought it shortly after it came out, I think in May or June of last year, and like played it a lot, but never really felt like I was very good at it, and never really like got far enough into it to really kind of unlock some of the like more esoteric jokers and the other ways that you can kind of modify your game in this. And you know, I most people know what this at this point is, but in short, you're trying to make poker hands, but you're also drawing and building a collection of jokers and tarot cards and other sort of elements that change the rules and scoring of the cards that you're playing. And each round has a blind you're trying to hit. So there's a minimum number of dollars or chips you're trying to win by sort of leveraging all of these sort of external factors, these multiplication and additional chips and bonuses and stuff in a way that is advantageous for you. And there's each game consists of 8 rounds, 8 antes, each with 3 blinds each. So you have to win 24 games in a row to be able to win a game of Balatro. And I could never do it. It's a lot of games. And that price keeps going up the further and further you go. So, I mean, as you get into later antes, you have to make, $17 million, $4 million in a game to be able to stay alive.
Well, it's not quite that much, right? It's like maybe 17,000.
Well, I mean, yeah, as you get into higher, it's in the millions, DJ.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't play that far. I don't remember it getting that high.
Yeah. I'd have to look back, but there's definitely, as you get into, yes, it gets super high. It gets into the millions, and it gets into weird, like, fake numbers later, too.
Oh, but, did they put the exponents on there or something?
Yes, yeah, they put the E's in there.
Maybe, is there just, like, an endless mode or something? Because I think I probably only finished 1 or 2 games, and at that point I was kind of just over it.
Finished to a win state? Like you win on the screen?
Yeah, it was like you won and you unlock a new deck fun. Or something.
Right. Cool. I could never do that. For like 8 months, couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And just, was annoyed, but didn't really want to like try that hard.
Well, it's because you were playing all the ones that required like 20 million points to win. You got to find some of the low stakes tables.
Yeah, maybe that's it. But yeah, so at some point in December, like I found some little weird combination of things that allowed me to win my first game.
Wow.
After months of playing this thing. And then I was hooked. So from
it can be done.
It can be done. And it really I didn't lose sleep over it before, but at some point, like I started getting served like Balatro gameplay tips in my YouTube feed and things like that. And I kept learning things that I was sort of like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. And we've got some really smart people in our Discord. Shout out to Arcasa, who is a bit of a Balatro guru and has shared a bunch of their tips for being successful and some of their like Joker combinations and things like that. And I was like, oh, maybe there's more to this game than I thought. And like I said, sort of taking some of that stuff to heart, was able to kind of beat my first game. And then within a week of beating my first game, I was able to beat like 6 more games and unlock 6 more decks. And I just had to do it one time before. And I'm not even sort of like just lather, rinse, repeating it. Like I just have sort of figured out how to kind of navigate it and speak the language of the game a little bit. That sounds wild and stupid, but
that makes sense.
Yeah,
and that's kind of like how I feel about Slay the Spire after a certain point.
Oh, totally. Yes, I think I got there faster with Slay the Spire, though.
Yeah, I have such a hard time with these like deck building games. Like when I dabbled a little bit in Magic the Gathering, like after high school, and my biggest hang up was like I just don't know what the cards do. Like every time I like look at my hand, I have to read over everything and just be like, what does this do again? What is that thing you just played? And it was like that for Slay the Spire for a long time. But now I'm just like, oh yeah, like that's a good card. That's the card I want. I hope like this card is the one I'm looking for. And I just like get it now.
Totally. Yes.
And I was kind of waiting for that moment. I'm like, I sort of expected that was what was going on with Balatro. It's just like, I don't really know. I don't really comprehend like the full range of possibilities available with the Jokers, because I haven't seen all of them and I'm just not really familiar with all of them. And I don't think I still haven't made it to that point, but I just like, I don't know, it did not grip me as much as Slay the Spire.
Yeah. Like I think I kind of got it and sort of enjoyed it and had fun with just sort of the toy of it, the gaminess of it, until I figured out that you could win this, and then I became very addicted at winning it. So I have since gone on to like try to unlock other decks. There's a couple of the decks that are like just defy me. I just, no matter what I try or what sort of mechanics I throw at them, I've not been able to win at them. And each deck has its own sort of like different kind of conditions. You earn interest over the course of playing the game. So for every $5 you have in your pot, you get an additional couple bucks of interest as you play. There's a version, and you need the money. You need the money to buy new cards and to buy new Jokers and to upgrade and to even remove stuff from your deck. Sometimes you need to pay money. And if you don't have money coming in, it really limits your options, and you have to be super efficient in a way that I can't figure out how to be. So I that one kills me because I need that interest money. I need cash coming in every round. And you do get a little bonus for like unused discards or unused plays, but I'm pretty good at like using every single discard to like mine for the cards that I want. So then the lesson for me is like, you need a smaller deck. You need to be better about taking stuff out of your deck. And I can't seem to sort of find the magic combination of things that allows me to sort of win these conditions. But I've been pretty good at sort of figuring out some of the other ones, and every time I do it, I feel super smart, which is nice. Games that make me feel dumb are hard to like continue going back to. I've had a really, really good time with it. I don't know if anybody in the world is still sort of on the fence about Balatro, if they have not checked it out yet. I think it's awesome. I've had a great, great time with it. Would totally recommend if you need like an obsession and you know that you're sort of tuned to like get obsessed with things like this. Check it out. It's kind of fun. So that's it. Mostly I wanted to brag about being able to like finally win a game of Balatro, and maybe just do a little 2-second advertisement for maybe checking it out if anybody's been on the fence.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. It's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
What was there like one specific tip that turned things around for you?
Yes. Yeah. Well, a couple of things. Like, you can arrange the order of your Jokers, and I didn't know that the first 100 times I played this. And the jokers are always scored for you kind of left to right. So the order that you put them in should be very deliberate based on their effect. So you want the ones that add chips on the left-hand side and do X1, X2, X3.
Interesting.
Multiplication of benefits, essentially mult in the game, they call it, on the right. So you get your plus, 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 and then you start multiplying it by 1, 2, or 3. I didn't know you could move them around the first bunch of times, so I was just letting scoring happen, and I was leaving dollars behind. I was not getting every chip I could have gotten. So I find now that I spend not a lot of time, but I have a very deliberate order to where I put my jokers, and that has been huge for making the money I need to being able to like win some of these bigger blinds.
Interesting. I don't know if I did a lot of that. Maybe that's what was holding me back.
Maybe. Yeah, and then the other thing that became super important to me, particularly early on, was to upgrade your most commonly used hands. So there's planet cards that allow you to do X1, X2, X3, and really you can sort of invest money in almost every round by buying planet cards and using them, and it will buff the effect, essentially the scoring of a particular poker hand. So find out what poker hand you're playing the most and have the ability to sort of like engineer the most out of your deck, and then really just put money into upgrading that as much as possible.
Yeah.
So I was playing a ton of flushes. Sorry to cut you off. I was playing a ton of flushes in the first one, and I kept buying planet cards to up my flush scoring, and I got to the point where it was like X15, which is the highest I've ever gone. So like out of 24 rounds, I bought a planet card to upgrade my deck, my flush 15 times. So nearly every time I played a round, I was upgrading that. And it became absolutely crucial. So like, maybe you'd get 100 chips for winning it when it's X1, but you're getting 1,500 when it's X15. And that's huge. And then you can multiply that again if you have the right jokers. So it's a lot of math, but it like comes elegantly as you start to sort of like figure out the trick of Balatro.
That was one of the first things that how to say this, that I guess realized I should be doing, which sounds so basic in retrospect, where it's like, oh yeah, you want the things that multiply your score. But I was like, as soon as I figured out, I was like, oh, I should be getting more of these planet cards. Okay, so well, I mean, that's reassuring. I was at least on the right track.
But you have so little money early. Like each hand, you're only winning like $6 or $7.
Yeah, it feels like there's so many different sort of like approaches you could take at the start, whether it's like, you want to get as many jokers as possible, or you want to be spending your money on the planet cards or the weird like tarot cards. And it felt like I wasn't really sure which one to sort of concentrate on. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to do all planet cards. That seems good.
Yeah. There is a planet card that you get that comes up occasionally where it will upgrade every hand by +1. And I'm like, oh, that's the one.
That's what I want.
What is the secret, like, a set of conditions in Balatro that allows that card to come up more often? Because then you're not individually investing in particular hands. You're just upgrading everything in one shot.
Yeah.
And that's huge. So, yeah, again, it's one of those things like Slay the Spire. The further you kind of dig into it, the more you're like, oh, that's super clever. That's kind of fun. I didn't know you could do that.
Is it just random when it comes up, or can you sort of like steer the game in that direction where it gives it to you?
I think once you know the conditions that unlock that and then make it sort of occur, almost everything in Balatro has like layers. Like there's like the first like initial offer, like you get like vouchers in the game that sort of modify conditions, and some of the initial ones are not great and they're kind of expensive. The vouchers are like $10 each, and they're like, oh, it decreases the price of everything in the shop by 10% or 25%, and you're like, well, that's not that exciting. But then the next, if you buy the first one, that unlocks the second one, and they'll present that to you later, again for another $10. But now it decreases the price of everything in the shop by 50% or 75%, and you're like, oh, that's the one you really want. So you have to spend $20 to get there, but like all the cool stuff is hidden behind a kind of unlock that your instinct would be, well, look, I'm not going to spend money on that. But if you know that, like, if I buy that thing, it'll give me a better thing later. You kind of do have to spend a little bit of your cash on like, middling things to be able to unlock a cool thing somewhere down the road.
Okay, I don't think I realized that there was that sort of like progression system in the game.
Yeah. There's a couple different layers like that. And plus, again, there are sort of like pervasive unlocks too, where if you do certain conditions in the game, it's possible to get a 5 of a kind in this. That's not a normal like poker deck, obviously. You're cheating if you have a 5 of a kind in poker, but you can tune your deck so that you do get like 5 kings or 5 aces. And if you get that the first time, it will unlock some cool condition that you then have access to later on in the game. And for future games too, even if you fail out of that one, that will still be available to you. So there's...
Oh man, I didn't even realize I was supposed to be like fulfilling these weird conditions. I thought it was all just, whatever you buy in the shop that they happen to throw at you. Interesting.
It's all these weird little secret missions that are buried in the mechanics of Balatro, yeah. So that's it. I said I wasn't going to talk about Balatro forever, and I did, and I apologize, but it's really good. I'm having so much fun with it. I've had to like be super disciplined about spending my time on it because I will just play it forever.
Yeah.
It's yes. Do you remember the just the heyday of Picross 3D and how like obsessed we were? Yeah. It feels like that.
I think that was also a little bit of why I haven't really allowed myself to play more of it. I'm surprised I didn't just delete it off my phone. Like with the Suika game, I was like, I'm gonna get the watermelon and then it's gone, just deleted.
Yes,
but it's still just hanging out on my home screen, kind of perilously.
Yeah, that was the thing about the Suika game is that like once I got to the point where like every time I played, I could get to the watermelon. Like there wasn't really a lot of reason to keep going. And like that basically killed the game for me. And I don't feel like I've gotten to a thing in Balatro yet where I'm like, okay, every time I play this, it's not fun anymore. Yeah.
I just feel like I don't enjoy it as much as Slay the Spire, so I'm just going to play Slay the Spire.
Sure, if you have
the Hatsune Miku game.
Yeah.
Depends on what
I love Slay the Spire. I don't want to go back to it because I don't want to like burn myself out before the new one comes out, and I'm hoping that's this year. So
yeah, no, it is this year.
Yeah,
I'm trying to take a little break from it. So
fair.
Maybe fill that void with Balatro. Who knows?
Yeah. I think I'm going to put Lonely Mountain Snow Riders kind of back in my pocket, and we'll bring that up on a future show.
Okay.
It's a skiing game. I think you played a little bit of it too.
I did.
Maybe we'll get a little more time with it before we record another episode and we can weigh in a bit more. It's on Xbox Game Pass if anybody wants to check it out. It's fun.
Yeah, it's cool.
I will do an advertisement here for CineNerdle2.
Oh, but we are going to talk about this one?
Battle. Yeah.
All right.
Because this has also been a weird little obsession of mine over the last couple of weeks. It's a horrible name for a game. I'll put a link to it in the episode description. It's it's a browser game. You play it on your phone or on your computer. There's been a version of this I think I've talked about on the show in the past, where essentially it matches you up with some other nerd somewhere on the internet. And
already I don't like this.
You have to know more movie titles and actors and directors and cinematographers and composers than they do. So it'll start you off with like a movie. And then if it's your turn, you have to think of a movie that shares a director or an actor or something with that initial movie. And then that other person gets 25 seconds to guess their complementary movie. And then you go back and forth, each with only 25 seconds per, to name a complementary movie. You can't reuse the same asset. You can't reuse Edward Norton movies or pick another one. Keanu Reeves more than 3 times.
Yeah.
Or it will lock you out from using them again. So you do have to like sometimes pivot and be creative about thinking about like beyond just sort of who the star of it is or who the director of it is. And back and forth. You do get a little toolkit of kind of modifiers because it is a modern game. That seems to be the way that this goes. These are your jokers essentially. And you can give yourself a little additional time. You can tap a button and it'll tell you who the 2 stars of the movie were. So that gives you a little hint of how to think of a complementary movie that you can play. You can speed the clock on the other player where they get 25 seconds. But if you hit speed the clock, it'll drop their time in half, and they have to be faster. And other little fun things like that allow you to like kind of modify it. You can skip, and if somebody throws a movie at you that's some like weird foreign film or some indie movie with some actor you've never heard of, and you're like, I have no idea where to go with this. I don't even know who this person is or who's in it or who starred in it. You can reverse it essentially like Uno back to them, and they have to think of a complimentary actor or person. And I'm like, oh, you think you're so smart? You figure out who was in that French movie.
This sounds so stressful.
I
can't believe you're playing this.
The timing on it is the hardest part. And I think it's timed to 25 seconds so you're not constantly Googling. Like, I had a win condition. There's win conditions for everything. So you can try really hard to sort of outguess the other person and just stump them. So they run out the clock thinking of things, or the game will assign you like a win condition every time. And you need to think of 10 horror movies and name them as your guesses. Or you can, or fantasy or romance. They've been doing a fun David Lynch thing recently where if you can name 4 David Lynch movies in the course of a game, that's your win condition. You'll win that. You also get a cool little David Lynch badge on your profile, which is fun.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. And they keep changing those little conditions up. I got Cillian Murphy the other day. I got Idris Elba. I'm like, what Idris Elba movies do I know? Think of them. But if you
Sonic
can
the
name,
Hedgehog.
He's what?
This is Sonic the Hedgehog.
Is he really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
No. I can only think of that horrible, what was the Stephen King thing he did with
the Dark Tower?
The Dark Tower, yeah, it was so bad. We'll forever associate him with that, unfortunately.
No. No. You haven't seen The Wire?
Of course. Well, you can't do TV shows. You have to do movies.
Okay, fine.
So, like, my Idris Elba guesses are The Dark Tower and Suicide Squad, unfortunately. So,
he was also one of the Thor movies. He was great. He just stood on a bridge. Yeah.
Oh, here's the fun thing. You get points, and you can assign them to block movies.
I was going to say, do you lose points for naming any Marvel movie?
Well, see, you get a little toolkit that you get 20 points that you can spend on different things. And some of those are the little modifiers, like I said, where you can speed the clock or get extra guesses and yada, yada. But you can also tune what movies you can blacklist. And every time I play, like somebody will guess any number of the Avengers movies, which everybody's in, or any number of, or any number of the Lord of the Rings movies, which also everybody is in.
Like Harry Potter or something.
Yeah. So you can blacklist those and it blocks the other player from using them.
But you do that every time.
So yeah. Well, it's part of your build for the game. And it'll ask you which one of your custom builds do you want to bring into the game with you.
Interesting.
Into the battle arena.
But how do you blacklist like the Avengers? You put Avengers because there's so many Marvel movies.
Well, it's individual movies. So I have Avengers Endgame. And one of the other Avengers things that I don't know anything about as blacklisted. Man. I have the first Harry Potter and the first Lord of the Rings blacklisted.
Feels like there's too many. You get overwhelmed.
Well, that's the thing is there's how many X number of movies each. If I wanted to do every Harry Potter, I'd have to spend every point I have. Yeah. And the folks from the Harry Potter movies have grown up to be kind of mildly interesting actors who have done a lot of other cool movies. Daniel Radcliffe is in a bunch of really good stuff that I love to be able to like use in my toolkit. So I don't want to block that entirely. But yeah, man, the Marvel stuff just stumps me. And the thing is, like, again, to your point, the Avengers, like literally every actor is in those things. Yeah, people keep guessing like Transformers movies, and they're like Anthony Hopkins is in the Transformers movie, and John Turturro and John Malkovich, and I'm like, oh, these are real actors. Why are they in Transformers movies? But
God, you're such a hater.
I know it's so easy for me to like be an asshole about this, but
you would never know that Cillian Murphy and Idris Elba are both in Fast and the Furious 9.
Are they really? I didn't know that either.
Yeah, they play several of the cars.
It's funny, the Fast and the Furious movies don't really come up as guesses from people.
Well, yeah, because everybody playing this game is some movie nerd who's too good to watch Fast and the Furious movies.
Yeah, but not too good to watch Avengers movies? I don't know.
Oh, no. I mean, not everybody loves the Avengers. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's a very different kind of nerd, I guess, as I say it out loud now. So, yeah. It's super fun. You can make friendly arenas where you can just play against your friends. which is cool. I've not really had a chance to experiment with it. I keep trying to convince Sarah to play. She's good at being in the room with me and like shouting out movie titles when I need help.
Oh, come on. Okay, wait a minute. You have outside help as you're playing.
What was the movie that Scarlett Johansson was in with, what's his name? Steve Buscemi. And I can't think of the title of it, but she'll scream it out. And that's totally cheating, but people on the internet don't know.
Okay. I see how it's going.
So it's super fun. If you're a movie nerd, like DJ said, this is probably totally up your alley. It is quite stressful.
This is just one-on-one with somebody else, supposedly?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Supposedly, yeah. It could be an office full of people and they're all shouting out movie titles, yeah.
Yeah. I was just thinking, oh man, I can't remember what this was called. That there was like a trivia game that it was like a live thing. It'd be on once a day. And everybody like playing would have to answer these trivia questions and you could win money.
Yes.
But it's not like that. You just fire this up anytime and face off against somebody.
Right. Yeah. No real money on the line.
Okay.
You don't even have to register. Actually, you can play as a guest if you don't want to like sign up for an account. But why would you not? It's free. It tracks your points and then it allows you to log in on any device and you can carry over all of your like toolkits that you've built out and stuff like that. It's super fun. If you're not a hardcore movie person and you don't like sort of like trying to out-juke people on movies, it really is just sort of like you are the movie recommendation engine and you're trying to sort of make connections to other ones. If you're not good at like the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, this might be really difficult for you. I have found that it's super fun to sort of dig into my brain of like, what was that weird indie movie that Cillian Murphy was in 15 years ago? And like throw that out as like a little thing for somebody to contend with. I think it's real easy to like pick big blockbusters for people and like throw those out there. So like anytime Tom Cruise comes out, people are like, oh, Mission Impossible or Edge of Tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, but how about Magnolia?
Yeah, he was in that.
Yeah, or Eyes Wide Shut, or So like throw out like little oddball movies or indie movies that big actors have done to sort of see how people can respond to those. I was playing a bunch of John Hughes movies, just sort of like going through and like trying to like get from like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles to Pretty in Pink to 16 Candles, and the person I was playing against, I don't think was over 20 years old. Yeah, and was struggling really, really hard, and I felt a little bad by it. But the point is to win. So, you could see what tools the other person is using from their toolkit. And every time I throw out a movie title and throw out Pretty in Pink, she was using the cast and crew button to see who was in the movie.
You can see what sort of lifelines they're using.
Right. Yes.
That's interesting.
And I was like, oh, you don't know who's in 16 Candles. But again, of a certain age, I come with that baggage.
You're gonna get a reputation. It's like there's this guy on there who won't name a movie from before 1990.
Watch out for Randy Recht. He'll get you.
Oh man.
My win rate is like 50-50. I win about half as many games as I play. So it's as much fun as I've had with it, and I've had some really good like long battles with people where it'll tell you how many rounds you go, and I've gone 75, 80 movies with people.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and they are just better at tuning it to get to their win conditions, where they have to name 10 romance movies, and I'm like, if I get 10 romance movies, I'll never get there. I can't think of 10. Like Love Actually, that's one. Like I can't think of 9 more. Pretty in Pink. But I don't have that like built into my brain. When I get 8, it's usually 8 horror movies. I'm much better about that, obviously, which is probably not surprising to anybody who's listened to more than one episode of this.
Which is the Fast and the Furious movie where they got married? Was that Fast 5? Was that 4?
Does that count as a romance?
You better take whatever you can get. You need 10 of them.
Well, there's a lot of like that stuff too, where sometimes it tells you like what category or genre it thinks movies are. And sometimes it'll put up like clearly I think like Donnie Darko to me is a horror movie. But it puts it up and it classifies it as fantasy or sci-fi. And I'm like, I don't know if I agree with that. So I think like Donnie Darko is going to be my clincher and is going to get me a point in my horror movie tally.
That is not a horror movie.
I think it's kind of horrific.
I wouldn't file it under horror.
All right. Well, maybe that's just me being picky. Or maybe I'm just desperate for a horror movie point and trying to win a freaking game. But yeah, so this is, I'll put a link to it. It's free to play in our show notes. It is called CineNerdle2. CineNerdle, the number 2. And it's the battle mode.
There's a lot going on there.
They definitely need to get that piece of the branding down.
Did you play, God, I have so many questions just about the title. Like, did you play CineNerdle 1? Was there just something called Nerdle at some point, right? I imagine there must have been.
It's got to be a variation on Wordle, right? I assume that's where this started.
It sounds like, I doubt it was like directly related, but it feels like it was part of that phase where everybody had their own daily trivia game.
Right.
And then is Battle like the head-to-head spin-off version of this? Like, if this actually was a Square Enix game, like, yes, whereas CineNerdle 2, like, Legends or whatever, or like the farming version. I don't want the battle one.
Well, if you just go to the CineNerdle site, there's a bunch of different puzzles you can play, and they're like daily puzzles about like movie titles and things like that.
Oh, so it is the sort of face-off one.
And yeah, so the battle mode is the player versus player, the PvP version.
Interesting.
Of a movie guessing game. Yeah.
Man, I just don't know enough about the CineNerdle 2 universe, I suppose.
All right. Well, I've said a lot about this. It's fun. It's surprisingly fun. I suspect if you're a movie nerd enough to be able to hang in something like this, but it's a good time. Maybe worth checking out.
I will. I'll close by saying something completely unrelated to this, which is, you really need to cultivate your CineNerdle 2 personality on here. Because it made me think, way back in the day, there was a free online multiplayer version of Tetris. And I would play that all the time. And I would, it makes you put in a username. So I just put in Batman, because whatever. And it got to the point where I would sign in, and I'd always announce myself. It would be like, Batman has joined the game. And I would say, greetings, citizens, and then proceed to stomp people in Tetris. And people, eventually people would just be like, oh no, it's Batman. We gotta get out of here. This guy always ruins my day.
Oh, that's funny.
So I want that for you. I want people to just be like, oh man, it's Randy Recht.
Anytime Randy Recht walks in the room.
Yeah, I will even pass on, the mantle of Batman to you if that's what you want to use.
I don't think I'm consistent enough to get there, but I think maybe that's like Balatro, like a good 8 months, 9 months.
Okay, well, no, I wasn't an overnight success as Batman either. So you got to get to that point before you can, put on the what does he say? Like, put on the hood, put on the mask.
It's funny, you can't actually directly chat with the people you play against, which is probably for the better. But there are 4 canned like compliments you can give at the end of the game. That are like, good game, or that was fun, or you really had me going there. But if you go into your settings, you can pick from a list of like 100 others, and they're all movie quotes.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Oh, well,
naturally.
That's fun. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I need to maybe go through that list and look for all the Batman ones.
Yes. Oh man. Yeah. That'd be perfect.
Because I distinctly recall, I think I Like Bats is in there, and I think I Love Purple is in there. So there's got to be some other one. So, but it's really, it's super fun. And again, if you're a movie nerd, like, all of this feels very well tuned.
Wait, one of the quotes is just, I like bats. Is that does Batman say that?
Who says that? Somebody says that. Vicky Vale? Maybe those are both Vicky Vale quotes. And bats. I like bats. No, maybe that's not it. Maybe I got it wrong. Whatever.
Batman's famous catchphrase.
I like bats.
When he takes somebody out, he's just like, I like bats.
See, this is why I have a 50-50 success rate. Yeah, I'm like, did I make that up? Is that from Lego Batman, maybe? Yeah.
Eventually, there'll be enough Batman movies where whatever the quote is will have been said at some point.
Yes, inevitably. Let me look for the battle preferences. Can I add? Let me see what's in here. I'll be back. Why so serious? There you go. That's a Batman one.
Yeah. Oh, you can't. You can't do that. That's kind of cringe at this point.
You complete me. That wasn't flying. That was falling with style. You had me at hello. 60% of the time, it works every time.
Oh, that's a good one. That might be my favorite joke of all time. That's so genius.
Hulk smash. I'm melting. What an excellent day for an exorcism. Red rum. So there's a ton in here. I'm barely scratching the surface on this list, but it's really fun.
So you got options.
That's a spicy meatball. I don't know. Put that cookie down. That's a good one.
Put that cookie down?
Put that cookie down. That's from Glengarry Glen Ross. Did you ever see that movie?
That's put that coffee down.
Oh, it is put that coffee down. What does put that cookie down come from?
That's why I was asking. I was like, that's not a cookie.
I don't know then.
Cookies are for closers.
Oh, if cookies are for closers. All right. That's a deep pull. Anyways, before I nerd out any further, thank you for indulging my CineNerdle2 thing.
Well, that was, I don't know what I expected, but that was certainly something.
Yep. We are quite over time, so let's go before the network pulls us off the air. If you need any other video game hangover in your brain, you should definitely follow us on Blue Sky. Just go to Blue Sky and search for Video Game Hangover, and there we are. You can also get show notes and links and tell us what you thought about at the aforementioned VGHangover.com. We would love for you to subscribe, rate, and review us on your podcasting app of choice, be it Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, or wherever else you can find a podcast. We're probably there. If we're not there, let us know, because I take great pride in being on every podcast thing.
Yeah. Plus, if we're somehow not on your podcasting app of choice, how are you even listening to us right now?
That's true. I have follow-up questions. Maybe help us out by telling your friends about the show.
Yes, that always helps. You could just be listening to us on YouTube, I suppose. I don't know if that's anybody's favorite podcasting app. But anyway, tell all your YouTube friends about the show. Helps us get the word out. Bring in new people. They can tell us all about where they listen to podcasts. It's win-win for everybody.
Yeah. Nobody has friends on YouTube.
What?
Have you seen the comment section?
It's probably true. Oh, man. Speaking of friends, I want to give thanks again to RJ Lake this week for our intro and outro music. If you'd like to hear more of his work, you can go to spellmynamewithabang.bandcamp.com. Friendly reminder that DJ will be streaming Hello Kitty Island Adventure on Twitch this coming Monday night. That is February 10th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Go to twitch.tv/VGHangover for that fun stuff. Yeah. Well, until then, we'll be here, and you'll be there, and we'll come back here and do this again later. So until that time, this is Randy Dickinson. That was really just all encompassing. I was trying to get us back to I feel like I've. No, I think you covered it. I was like, where is this going? Oh, he did it. Great. Stuck the landing, and then you had to call it out, and now it feels weird. Anyway, this is DJ Ross. Thanks for listening. Thank you for that. Thank you. Goodbye. Good night. See ya.